Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Today our group will present about the analysis of our action research, which is Jomanjib. This is our group members. The table of content consists of 6 elements. Firstly, background and rationale for the study. Secondly, research question and type of action research attempted. Thirdly, literature review. Fourthly, rationale for the project. Fifthly, description of methodology and results. And lastly, implications for future research and change. Firstly, we go to the background and rationale for the study. This innovation is the result of fellow teachers' experience who have created Jomanjib to teach students Islamic education in primary schools. Because she teaches in China's primary schools, she faced difficulties in explaining rules topic to her students. Then she created this innovation to overcome the problem, which is to explain the topic clearly and simply to the students. She then attempted to teach the topic using the innovation she created. His students responded positively to her, whereas his students quickly grasped the concept of rules. The study's rationale is that rules is a must-known topic for students to learn as early as possible before puberty, because the students' worship will be invalid without knowledge of the subject. Furthermore, this topic instills the virtue of mahmudah, which is to maintain personal hygiene. The model developed can also aid teachers and students in the learning and teaching of this subject. As a result of our findings on this product, we plan to develop a new version of Jomanjib that will be aid to the innovation that fits the age level in high school, because the subject of rules in secondary schools is more detailed than in primary schools. Furthermore, we intend for the new version of Jomanjib to address related issues and questions that are frequently raised in relation to this topic. It is hoped that efforts to improve this innovation will help students understand the topic better.
Number 2 is research question. Research question, we have 3. 1. What are the constraints faced by student and teacher in using Jomanjib for the teaching and learning process? Number 2. How do Jomanjib as a tool help students understand the topic of Oslo effectively? Number 3. How practical is this Jomanjib model? Now, we go to the research objective. Number 1, to identify the constraints faced by student and teacher in using Jomanjib as a tool in teaching and learning process. Number 2, to examine how teaching a Oslo topic Jomanjib as a tool to help students understand topic effectively. Number 3, to investigate the practicality of the Jomanjib. Now, we go to the research instruments. We have 2 types. First, how to answer the first research question is we use a research design quantitative, and type of data collection we use survey and interview. And then number 2, we use a quantitative, and type of data collection is survey and observation. Number 3, qualitative, and we use interview.
Next part is literature review. The researcher only wrote about studies that are relevant and related to the research problem. Many previous studies have only emphasized personal hygiene care, but in this study, the researcher emphasizes students' understanding of the correct way of rules. Hartley's 2016 Teacher's Journal titled "The Use of the Jomanjib Model in Teaching the Topic of Rules" was examined. She developed the Jomanjib model to help primary school students at SJK, which is Chinese, Yukon Keningau, understand the concept of compulsory bathing. For a study on Rismayani entitled "The Influence of Teacher Pedagogical Competence on the understanding of the Taharah model among students. Based on the analysis described in the thesis, the students' understanding of the Taharah material is at a high and excellent level. It can be concluded from the two studies above that the first study focuses on the rules chapter, but is not comprehensive because it only focuses on the correct rules method. The second study only discussed the chapter on Taharah and the importance of cleanliness in Islam.
Firstly, the importance of choosing a topic to study, that's rules, informing the Muslim community of the importance of purifying oneself or themselves from hadas. It is not fulfilled. If it is not fulfilled, then it will not be valid, and the worship will also be considered invalid. And next, important to researchers, it can be used as a useful reference and motivation for researchers in daily life, maintaining cleanliness. Help researchers to teach the topic using Jomanjib. And next, important to institution, society, especially teachers, Islamic education teachers, that it's very important to the community, especially the teacher of Islamic education, as a reference for awareness in teaching and giving students and understanding about obligatory bathing, so that they always maintain cleanliness and be a good example to the students. Next, important to the education, in this study is important to education because it encourages students to maintain personal hygiene. Next, a student will study in comfortable and clean environment because they understand how important it is to look after themselves as excellent student. And the last, what is the effect if not study about this topic, about the rules or obligatory bathing? The effect is not study is that students will worship without knowing that their worship is invalid because they are in a state of great hadas. And next, researcher cannot identify the practicality of the model. Besides, researcher cannot identify the effectiveness of the model.
Next, I will explain about description of methodology and the results. Alright, we have choose three methodology of action research, which is survey, observation, and interview, to achieve our research objective, which is first, to identify the constraints faced by students and teachers in using Jomanjib as a tool in teaching and learning process. Second, to investigate the practicality of the Jomanjib. And the last one, to examine how teaching goes to the topic using Jomanjib as a tool to help students understand the topic effectively. Okay, now let's see the results that we got from the simulation of the Jomanjib. Okay, first for survey, we do survey to focus on to achieve our two objectives, which is to investigate the practicality of the Jomanjib. Second, to examine how teaching goes to topic using Jomanjib as a tool to help students understand the topic effectively. So in the survey, we have three sections, which is first, details of the respondent. Second, the level of students' understanding of the topic of Ghosnu based on the Jomanjib model. And the third one is the practical level of using the Jomanjib model. Alright, for section B is to test the students' level of understanding of the Ghosnu topic using the Jomanjib model. There are 5 questions in the survey to test students' level of understanding. We use a Likert scale to see the level of student understanding. Then, the data shows that the answers of the 10 respondents on the first and second questions were on a scale of 5, which is strongly agree, while on question 3 to 5, the students answered on a scale of 4 and 5, which are agreed and strongly agree. this data shows that the Jomanjib model is successful in helping students understanding the topic of course well. Okay, next for section C, on the other hand, to test the practicality of the Jomanjib model. Similarly, we prepared 5 questions. In the first question, respondents choose a scale of 3, 4, and 5, which are less agree, and strongly agree. This shows that there are those who do not agree with the practicality of the Jomanjib model based on the first question. That is, the size of the Jomanjib model used is appropriate in the learning process in the classroom, meaning we can take consideration in determining the size of the model that is more suitable. While question 2 until 5 all choose scales 4 and 5, which are agree and strongly agree. This still proves that the practicality of the Jomanjib model is at a good level but can still be improved from time to time. Okay, the result of our observation. For observation, we have prepared an observation form that needs to be filled out by our own group members to observe 10 respondents to achieve the objective, which is to examine how teaching goes through topic using Jomanjib as a tool to help students understand the topic effectively. As you can be seen on the graph, the researcher chose a scale of 4 and 5 only for all the questions in the observation form. This shows that the respondent understand the topic of Goslu based on the Jomanjib model, and the researcher also prepared quiz questions, and the 10 respondents were able to answer the quiz well. Thus, it be concluded that students can distinguish the things that require bathing for men and women. Then students understand how to carry out activities involving men. Next, students are able to show how to use Jomanjib correctly. And the last one, students are able to remember the correct way of Goslu. Okay, next, we conducted an interview session. This interview session was in groups to achieve one of the objectives of our study, which is to identify the constraints faced by students and teachers in using Jomanjib as a tool in teaching and learning process. As a result of the interview, we found some constraints that faced by the respondents in using our Jomanjib model based on our 2 interview questions. Namely, first, what are the problems encountered when using the Jomanjib model? So the simple answer, it is difficult to determine the body parts on the Jomanjib. This is maybe because of the less realistic dimension. So while the second question is, are the parts of the body that need to be paid attention to when Goslu must be clearly shown using Jomanjib? So the simple answer is, first, the respondent answer, less need to be explained in detail. Example, for the second sample answer, if possible, the ginger man can squat, which is easily flexed, to make it easier for them to understand the correct action or position during the Goslu process. With that, we found that some respondents had a little difficulty in determining which parts of the body need to be cleaned using ginger man.
Lastly, I will explain about implication for future study and change. For the implication for future study, the first point is the use of Jomanjib in learning is very meaningful for improving the functioning and learning of students as well as teacher. The second point is emphasize learning with a demonstration method that can increase student engagement both physically and mentally. Teaching obligatory bathing with the use of Jomanjib, which seems to be a structured game, is able to improve student imaginative, logical and spatial skills. And the last point is students do not feel awkward to learn about obligatory bathing because there is a clear demonstration with the use of gingerman from Jomanjib. This is very suitable for students as well as a teacher to facilitate delivery in the compulsory bathing learning. The use of demonstrative learning like this can also be done in several topics in the subject in Islamic education. And the last is changes. The first point is the gingerman can be flexed to show a more distinct position, such as squatting. Second point is coloring the area that needs to be concentrated on during the mandatory parts. The third point is gingerman's model should be more realistic. And the last point is the water spray should be colored to show the water spreading evenly across the gingerman's model's body. So, the conclusion from this point is the gingerman models need to be greatly improved in order for learning to be clearer and more effective.